Dude, I forgot like we had a real show to do. There's your cold open, by the way. Welcome to That Range Life, episode 49, almost at 50 of that wonderful show that you may better know as a show sometimes about golf. Kris, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Good.
How's it going? How was your Christmas?
It's going. Hey, let's get the housekeeping out of the way first. Stop jumping the gun on topics. Hey,
I didn't know. All right, I didn't know that was a
I am motivated right now with this YouTube channel of yours. I texted you before the show today, hours before, not like a pre-production meeting. Things working, man. This thing's growing. It's growing.
That's true. You haven't even seen the behind the scene analytics, which are crazy.
We'll talk. Don't tell our secrets.
But here's the thing, though. We need a real hardcore call to action because we are 2 subscribers away from a nice round number of 300.
3,000? Wow, that's
So
great.
If you just found us, it's not my podcast.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay? It's
Top 20 golf show. One day.
So if you just found us, or maybe you're just kind of, you come and watch, but just do us a quick favor and do the subscribe thing and hit the bell as we ask you every week. And then, and we'll feel so much better going into the new year, exceeding hopefully 300 subscribers. So
Correct.
I'm really enjoying this. I'm into this.
We'll get more into that in a bit for sure. But
yeah,
like Kris said, make sure you like the videos, you subscribe, do all those things. The channel's growing, it's gaining interest. And for those who don't know how the golf biz works, the golf media biz on the internet, the better this stuff does, the more entertaining and better things we're going to be able to produce for you. I know every stupid YouTube video I watch, this is what the guys who do it say, like, hey, the more you do, the cooler things I can do for you and make better. Like, I get it. It drives me insane. But here's the problem, Kris. It's true.
The algorithm is the algorithm is the algorithm.
More success. By the way, before I continue, speaking of the formula of YouTube shows, I got a pose I've noticed with the armrests of my chair. I was looking at any old video I look at. I spend a lot of time like this. I don't know what it means, and I don't hate it. I'll lean into this.
It's like you're just engaged. That's your engaged
lean
pose.
into this, but new position apparently. Well, not new. I've been doing it, but I've just noticed it, and I don't. Something about it now. I'm like, do I do this while I'm working at my desk all day? I don't know, but pick an arm. It's usually this arm. I think it's usually this arm, and it shows off my cool hockey scar.
Yeah, very nice. I thought that's why you were doing it.
Let me just see if I can get that. Maybe you can do some video wizardry and get a zoom in cut of that. Just if anyone wants to know, that was a pretty gruesome 2 surgery injury. Anyway, like and subscribe. We want it. It's worked. We have gotten hit up by people going, hey, this in 2021 here, the channel's taking off, doing good things. We want to get involved and do some stuff. And so do we. And we like to think so do you guys. I saw the Project X Hazardous Smoke Blue RDX. Someone said, hey, there's not much about this online. Found your video. Maybe we can get you more of that kind of stuff, guys. Just saying, like it.
And if we really start to do well, hopefully it means that we have things that we can possibly give to our viewers and award you. So maybe it'll have this kind of thing on it.
Maybe
this logo. Maybe it'll be something that you can hit a ball with. Maybe it'll be something that you put on a tee.
Maybe it'll be something that says this slogan, and it's not the sticker, but the actual thing they make. I can pull that string.
Right.
I bet you we can get our friends. Let's do it. But you got to do your job.
We're all in this together. The more that we participate together, the more we all
can enjoy, subscribe, and tell your friends. Tell your friends. This isn't even. I think of all the golf shows out there. This one, at least, you can. Hey, I'd like you to watch the whole thing, but if you don't, you don't. Don't watch it. I don't know. Just help us out. We're pretty laid back. We're not trying to tell you we're the most important people in golf. We know we're not. We're just trying to have a good time with everybody. All right, we've done enough of this solicitation of our YouTube show and telling everyone what to do.
I think we've.
All right, let's move on. Christmas, recording this Sunday, the 27th, had a pretty big last 3
Correct.
days, especially if your last name is McEwen and your first name's Kris, spelled the funny way.
Tell you what.
Anyway, let's start with Christmas. Christmas was pretty easy. Christmas Eve was a day of debauchery for me. So much food, such a long day, and because of like people quarantining appropriately, we actually had a decent sized group we could safely be around and what have you. And I told my mom the
Good.
next day, I'm like, I almost feel like I was like blacked out yesterday just because I don't know how to socialize anymore, like in big groups. I don't know. This is
Seriously.
driving me crazy. I don't know how to be around people, host people. It was very overwhelming, but survived it. Now, I don't remember if it's Christmas Day or the day after, but I have good news for everyone. Kris, whether he realized it or not, alluded to it, flashing those That Range Life cards around. I got a new printer. I ordered a new printer. It'll be here Tuesday. Well, days ago as you're watching the show based on our release schedule. But more importantly, in this new printer, I can finally make my cards again and get back in the card game like that. And now that, as you were teasing earlier, all jokes aside, now that you have them in hand, it's a difference maker. Tell me you don't feel like
Oh, it's
you're ready to
great.
go. And I mean, like you did the
Oh,
card tap.
I need a desk to do the Letterman
Right.
tap.
As soon as you
Now I
have
just
them,
do this. I'm just gonna do this.
yeah, you should.
It's
As you
true.
should. I think I'm the desk guy. You can be the hand guy. I'll be the desk guy. But there's something about as soon as they get in your hands, you feel like you hit a new gear, and that you're totally different on the show. Like you can just you're like, all right, I've
True.
stepped it up. I'm ready to go. And I
Yeah.
felt weird without the cards, and it's oddly, even though one would argue it's less for me to worry about, I should be more organized now. I feel like I'm just scatterbrained without them. So thankfully, the new printer will be here Tuesday, and we'll be ready to go by the time we record our next show, and I can get back on track. Kris, how was your Christmas?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. My kids don't live with me, so we actually just went to a park and did some gift exchanging there. Because
On Christmas?
on
That,
Christmas.
was it nice and warm for you?
Yeah. Well, I tried to push it back to today, actually, and they're still excited about opening gifts, and tradition is tradition, and they always come to my house on Christmas. It's like a whole thing, which I appreciate. And so yeah, we went out to it was 15 degrees out, I think, but yeah, it was fun. Got a lot of great stuff. My wife got me a wonderful new pair of bougie slippers, because the slippers I bought were like $10 and they were trash, and my wife wouldn't have it.
I
God
love
bless
when you
her.
pretend you're not bougie, but then you're so bougie all the time.
Only about certain things.
Whatever, dude.
I'm a very strange bird when it comes to that stuff.
When it
Like,
comes to that
I'll
stuff,
spend
that's
money
it.
on something,
That's
but
it.
not others.
Just
Yeah.
when it comes to that stuff, you're a strange bird. Otherwise, you're so normal.
Right.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you had a good Christmas.
I appreciate that.
More importantly, and actually,
And I got this too. This is one of my favorite gifts right here. You can see that. My new Pearl Jam album that my children got me, which I'm very excited about.
I have a bone to pick with you, though.
And what's
I have
that?
a bone to pick with you, though. We get it. Christmas is fine. As I've been saying for weeks, I had a Post-it note with your birth date here. I had to work hard for your birthday gift to happen, and we don't have to get into, again, I still have issues with the whose gift, what gift, whatever. I see you have it, but I'm upset your drink is not in that vessel for this recording.
No, it's not. It's true. It's because I don't think I should be drinking a stout out of this in my home.
And don't get me started on J-Rib on that too. I appreciate it. Good beers. You're supposed to drink beer in glasses if you're at home.
Right.
But doesn't mean you couldn't have had, I don't know, an old fashioned in there, just something.
An old fashioned in this? That doesn't make any sense.
It's a principle thing.
It's
right.
I've got one of the 2020.
I don't care what you have. I care.
Bourbon County releases in this thing.
If anybody watches this, it's from Chicago.
As much as I love this thing, and I do legitimately love this, really truly love this, I'm not going to put
Now, do you see what I was
my
saying
Bourbon
about the
County
other 2
in
birthdays
there.
and what have you? This is like, yeah, I could go, what if I was like, "I'm gonna give you a new driver," like, wow, what a flashy, extravagant thing. You gotta think. It's sort of like my father-in-law with his Christmas presents, like, what do you get a guy who can get himself whatever he wants and needs, whatever, right? You gotta it has to be something with a thought in it. And I'm like, "You know what?
For sure.
This guy, I know he uses these because he talks about them on the show. I've seen him on the golf course, etc."
It's true.
And I said, "We don't have stuff like this. I know Kris doesn't need anything from me, but this is a thoughtful thing for him. And you have the only one in existence. Like
It's
there's
true.
no other
It's
that
true.
range life."
I mean, look how pretty that thing is. If I can get it to zoom in a little bit, I mean, it's a glorious color. I love the orange. The logo is just fantastic. Got a little bit of my
I
life
think what
issue
you
there,
should
but
do is just maybe take a
yeah,
picture and
it's
drop it in the
fantastic.
video. Don't worry, I got an arm pose. And then maybe I think it is this arm that goes up. Um, yeah, I was pleased with it. And it's funny because my intention was, I'm like, maybe I'll get him like the purple in our logo. Because remember, we said we wanted that like Winnebago sunset kind of color. But it's
Right.
in my head, it's like I see all those, but the logo itself doesn't have that purple in it. So
Correct.
our
Yeah.
logo on a purple background would work, but colors from the logo, I'm like, oh, it's just orange. Thankfully, they had an orange and had it in stock. And I don't mean this how it sounds, but like when this idea like finally dawned on me, it was actually doable. And thought it would be easy. I went, oh shit, it's not easy. The Tempercraft stuff I have on file is all Drive Range Heroes. This is a whole new file for them. Oh man. So
Right.
I
Right. So
hate I
yeah, it's gonna take
hate
longer.
being this guy in with like my golf contacts, like being that, you have golf contacts. Like I hate being this guy. It's one thing I'm calling in a favor, like, hey, John Claffey with Tour Edge, we have this idea and I need X, Y, and Z from you to do it. Or hey, I have a hybrid shaft I need to review and I want to use mine, but I need weights for swing weight stuff. Can I get some weights for you? Or can I get some like shaft adapters from you for my Tour Edge drivers? Like that's one thing. But being like, hey, I didn't realize like this could take considerable amount of time given the holidays, gifts, freight, all of it. Do
Hmm.
I have enough time? Oh, by the way, it's not my normal logo and it's a whole new thing. And they're like, ooh, I'm like, is there any way you can make this happen for me? And I go, technically, I only need it by the 26th, but I need some wiggle room. Can you get it to me before Christmas? And they're like, we got you. So, special
Nice.
shout out to Tempercraft for making that happen, which now I feel like I'm
Yeah,
cheapening
for
your
sure.
gift. But the reason I'm giving them a shout out is because I don't play that card and I played it here. But they came through for me
Yeah.
because,
And not to let Jay riv out of the, but he got me this sweet bag tag from Hot Birdie, and I don't know if you can see that either, but it's my personal logo. It's if it's down here in the corner, you can see that's the logo. The subscribe logo in the lower corner is what's on here, and it's really great. So
well,
yeah,
J-Rib should
it was
probably get his
it
own
was.
YouTube show if he went with you, if he wants to get credit for what he gives you. Just saying. Okay.
Don't be that guy either, William.
I didn't have anything to do with that gift for you or the bottle of bourbon, just so you know. I refused to be associated with it
Why?
because I bought you the Tempercraft mug, and I am going to be
Oh,
the I am
okay.
going to be the one to say, "Hey,
I
knock it off with these group gifts unless they all come from one place, and then it's just fine. We're shipping it."
I guess
I'm really dying.
do you want to publicly thank Josh for delivering your gift to my house?
No,
Oh, okay.
because he insisted. We were
All
gonna
right.
meet up. We were
Anyways,
gonna meet up, and I would have given it to you. And I'm gonna die on this hill about go chipping in on gifts when we don't need to, and we could just do it individually, just because it's funny, not because I actually care.
all right. Funny to
Oh
who?
Jesus, shut up! Go with a bit for once. For once, see, you get it now. You get the cards, right? You see where they work. They do everything. So,
People are gonna hate me with the cards, man, and be like, "Stop banging the cards around."
oh, they're gonna go. Oh, great! Both these idiots have them.
Right, right.
We didn't talk about what Gear Talk had today, but that's all right. We're gonna dive in here. I'm gonna preface it now, real quick. I'll preview it, and then we'll dive into it. By the way, I'm holding my drink high because my mic stands right there.
The mic,
Very
yeah.
dramatic. Could switch hands. Gear Talk. We talked about the Project X Hazardous Smoke Blue RDX the other week, but now today we're going to talk about the Smoke Black RDX. I think that one's gonna be more popular than the blue, even though the blue is a little more attention getting because it's new. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that, and then I'm gonna tease a blog about
This is a
a
fun one.
classic golf club. We're gonna talk about
Yeah.
that, and I'll tell you where you can look it up. But we're gonna talk about that. Okay. All right. With that said, let's get into gear talk. All right, Kris. First thing I want to talk about in
Yes.
gear talk is a Project X Hazardous Smoke Black RDX shaft. Now this one,
Hey, real quick, real quick,
real
real quick,
quick.
real quick. So I just want to. This isn't a planned thing, but Bill doesn't know I'm going to do this. But the conversation from your new podcast, Big Time Golf
Mhm.
Guys, about the
Yeah.
blue. For those that haven't listened to it, listen to it. Go find it. It's really really good. Besides the point of the breakdown of the shaft, which we're going to do the black, and you've if you're watching this show, you probably heard the black or the blue breakdown already. Anyways, but there's a ton more information that you, William, provide to the listener. I think are super valuable. I love that episode. I thought it was really good. So everyone go and listen
If
to
you
that.
really mean that, and you're not just doing it for the show,
I'm being No, I'm being super genuine about that. Super genuine about that. I thought it was a
I
fascinating.
really
It was
appreciate
just a
that.
great.
Thank you.
It was a great discussion around shaft technology in general. It wasn't. I didn't. Nothing went over my head, which a lot of times that's why I don't listen to a lot of gear conversation because I get bored. That didn't happen. The fitting discussion, all that kind of stuff was really
That show,
genuinely very very good.
again, not to go too far off track here, that show I'm finding, and we're only a few episodes in, right? Is tough because it's new and that format and how we're talking about stuff is new to both of us. And
Hmm.
I told Adam, I'm like, we walked out of that show and I went, oh God, we are not hitting our stride yet. And so I'm like, you know what? This isn't going to be entertaining. It's checking the box, right? We covered the gear topic, like gear. Look, it is supposed to be a gear focus show. There is going to be some real, we're going to be real gear nerdies in it. That's for you.
Yeah.
And listen to the show. That'll make sense.
Right.
So like that's sort of unavoidable to some extent. And then, but being like a haunted house, you hearing that creak in it? I said, I'm going to go back and listen to it, see what it's like. And I will tell you, I was pleasantly surprised at how bad it wasn't. Like, I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
this is playable. I mean, don't get me wrong, we still have to hit our stride, but I do feel like if you're, the common golfer who isn't watching, who's more interested to the point you're listening to gear podcast and you uh you care about new gear and stuff, you're still going to be you're probably going to have enough knowledge, but like it didn't feel like real gear nerd dry. I was like, oh, this is playable.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah. Yeah.
we might be able to take this somewhere. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Hopefully, trying to think what we're talking about next show, but hopefully we can do another, keep moving the right direction and talk about it in a fascinating way for everybody. All right, so let's move on. Talk about
All
the
right.
smoke.
Let's talk about
Thank
yeah.
you. I really appreciate that, and thanks for the plug. You do executive produce the show. That's fair to point out. I want to talk about the Smoke
Right.
Black RDX from Project X. This thing is very similar to the Smoke Blue RDX in terms of, I think, what you're looking for out of flight, spin, etc. In fact, I don't like to do this, but when you're done watching our show here, maybe go check out my guy Keenan Phillips over at True Sports. right? That's like True Temper, Acra.
Mhm.
I believe they're Aerotech now, but Project X, right? He's doing this great series. They're like 2 to 3 minute videos and just sort of lessons on certain topics. And so we compare. He talked about the blue shaft, just talked about the black, comparing the two and what's different between them. And a lot of the overall performance is similar, but he focused on how that blue shaft that we talked about last week, same thing, loads a little more and gives you a little more pep, if you will, in the swing.
On the kick?
Yeah,
On the
yeah, you
kick?
get noticeable kick,
Yeah.
more noticeable kick. And the black,
Mhm.
so we're doing the same thing, right? We're still using Hexcel's space industry. I can't get over this. Like it's stuff you could put on the space station and it's in your golf shaft. And don't get me wrong,
Right.
that's what all the leading shaft makers are doing now. They're using unimaginably advanced technology and the carbon fibers going into your silly golf shafts. You
Yeah.
get a golf ball 150 to 400 yards down a piece of grass or into a lake.
Right.
Mere space station, water hazard left.
Right.
Um, but so it has different hex toe fibers from Hexcel in it to make it a different profile. And this profile is still super stiff in the butt section, super stiff in the tip section of the shaft, but the mid section where the smoke blue RDX was soft, very soft, is stiff in the black. So this thing, I will tell you, if you
Okay.
don't have that heavy, aggressive swing that the HZRDUS line's designed for, this one's gonna be tough for you to load. It's gonna be tough for you to get in the
Hmm.
air. I mean, you're gonna have a hard time with it. But if you do have a strong swing, you do have an aggressive tempo, this thing is stout. It is stable as can be, like we said about the blue last show. If you didn't watch last show, I'll just say what that means is the shaft's not gonna like go from a circle to like this real bad. It's gonna stay a circle throughout the swing. That's a little better, right? It won't do
Right.
that on you. So it'll stay more stable, keep its shape, which means instead of spending energy getting back to its shape, that's going to transfer into your ball. Now, because it is so stout, it is so stiff in the tip and butt sections and mid sections, you're going to have low spin and you're going to have low launch. This is one of the few shafts on the market. I'll say pretty much no matter who you are, it's going to do what it says it's going to do. This thing,
Hmm.
I mean, you have to be hitting your driver straight down on the ball to get too much spin on this thing and to hit it high in the air. I'm not saying it's not doable. I know all of you fellow driving range heroes out there can find a way because your swings are amazing. You're great golfers. Awesome. But if a normal golf swing, man, these things will stay low or at least lower, and they're not going to balloon on you any day of the week. Uh, your dispersion should stay nice and tight because of being able to control it due to its low spin. Fights wind tremendously. Um, I averaged under 10 degrees of launch on this thing, and I'm not exactly a low
Jeez.
ball hitter by any means, but safely there.
That's like 2 degrees, right?
What?
It's a 2-degree difference. Usually aren't you at like a 12-degree
I would
launch?
say, yeah, I'm like, I
Yeah.
had sneak
Wow.
peek. I took the Cobra Rad Speed driver out for the first time today, and I averaged like somewhere in the 11 to 11 and a half territory. I can't remember. I'd have to look.
Okay.
But I would say, yeah, these days I'm hitting comfortably in like 11 to 12 and a half on gamer gear. Um,
Yeah.
and I was trying, man. I was trying to launch that black high. And you're just part of it is like when you test something and find a pattern, try to prove the pattern doesn't exist, just to be
Mhm.
fair about it. And
Sure.
I couldn't do it. Like, I mean, I could slice the thing, I could hook the thing, I could shape it any which way I wanted, but um it's not to say like, oh, I only have to hit a soft little floater. Like that's different. That's not loading the shaft and unloading, putting everything into it.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
but I mean, these days when I'm really getting on it, a little colder like today, maybe it's a little lower, but like I'm averaging if I went back and checked recent reviews on drivers and shaft reviews, I'm averaging like 115 to 117 miles per hour on my swing. Not a big deal. But um even at those swings with my tempo, I'm like, I am fighting to get this thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I you take when we put our data up, it's an average of a ton of shots. I know it's like, "Oh, show me all the shots." I'm like, "I'm not doing that. Relax, okay? That doesn't being able to dissect every single shot I recorded here doesn't help you. I'm taking, like I will admit it's a
The
sample
mean.
it's an
Yeah.
extensive sample
Yeah.
that is like, this is what
Right.
if I was used to this shaft day in and day out, this is what, like, my general performance would look like. I hit shots better than
Yeah.
my data, I hit shots worse than my data. So, like, did I have some that were getting in
Right.
11 degrees, 12 degrees? Sure. I wasn't hitting 16-degree, 15-degree air balls,
Right.
but I was
Right.
keeping it
Right.
low spin. So, this goes back to saying players who've been fans of all the hazardous black shafts since the line came out, I think will really like this one. I think it performs better than the other ones have, which I think says something from the original Smoke Black, not so much the original Hazardous, but we went over that. The original Hazardous Black. I don't care if we went over it last week. Maybe you didn't watch it. Um, that one was so boardy and stiff and kind of like
Yeah.
dead and feel to be that stiff. Where I always said like I like the performance numbers on it, but it felt so bad. But the performance was so good, I hit it anyway. The Smoke
Mhm.
Black had similar performance, but the feel was better. But like this one to me, it's tighter. It has better dispersion. It has a much better, more precise feel for as stout of a shaft as it is, because a more stout shaft tends to feel dead.
Like a yeah. Right.
This guy, not the case. So it's low. You're gonna get low with it. If you don't, hey, you're a powerhouse. Great. I'll see you in the long drive circuit.
Right.
That's Smoke Black RDX. It's a great shaft. I'm not man enough for it. I'll admit it. You gotta have a swing, and I think you'll see tour players who like it. I think you'll see amateurs. I think of what's the guy's name? Matt, the big lefty who is like 6'7" and 145 pounds over at TXG, who does all the testing in their videos.
Mm. Mhm.
He might
Mhm.
be able to whip this thing around, and they talk about this guy, Big Al, who hits there. He has like 125-mile-an-hour club speed. Maybe he does. Um, but you got to be able to swing the club to get this thing launching higher. It's impressive. It's a
Yeah.
great shaft. You just got to be able to swing it. So if you have that big, hard, aggressive tempo, go get it.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's a Hazard's Black. Let me take a drink. Okay. Let me talk about this blog. This is a blog.
Oh, are we still? We're gonna stay in gear talk for
Yeah,
this?
we're saying Gear Talk.
Oh, all
This
right,
is
cool.
Gear Talk.
All right,
This is
all right, fun.
this is Gear Talk.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got
No, you're that's
I
true.
got this a
It's
while
cool.
ago, and I'm not sure if we mentioned it when I got it. I know it's like, oh, I got something good today. I remember saying on the show, I got
Yeah,
something good today, but I want to talk about it until I have the blog written. Took
yeah.
me forever to write the blog. In fact, the blog says my latest find, the Cobra Ultramid driver. Well, it's not my latest find anymore, but I'm
Right.
still pumped about it. So I don't know. People may not remember this thing. Wrote a blog, came out Tuesday. Okay, the same day my new printer's
It's
coming.
out. It's out. Right.
So,
Is the shaft review out?
Shaft review came out Monday. You can find it on
Okay,
DriveRangeHeroes.com.
great.
But this guy,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
this is a jumbo version,
Now, why do
standard version,
why
jumbo
do we
version.
love the ultra? Why do we love the Ultramid so
You
much?
look at this thing first of all. It's white, and if you're looking at this, I mean that's whipping. That's not a ferrule. Okay, steel shaft.
Yeah, yeah.
Got a. This one came with an S300U. Don't find too many of those. Um, it looks like ivory almost. Ivory golf.
It
It's
does.
not ivory. It's not.
It does.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you a brief history of
Um.
this thing if you want.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what year roughly is that vintage that you have in your hand?
That club is right around. Its biggest win to its name was the 1991 PGA Championship at Crooked Stick. Okay. Now, I want to say the club was around roughly 1990 to 92. Don't remember for sure. But where it popped up and its big claim to fame is that John Daly used it to win his 91 PGA Championship. Okay. Now, the reason John Daly was using this, okay, this was right around when players started switching from persimmon to metal wood,
Metal.
most of them being made out of titanium,
Correct.
whatever, right? And
Mhm.
that was not a refined technology. Players were still like, I like this kind of head shape and size, similar to persimmon wood, but this metal's longer, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Get the old classic guys to come on and debate if that's true or not, right? But John Daly, I don't know if and I started to think everybody knows this about him already in the blog, but depending on who's watching and who's reading, John Daly may be like, I've heard stories. I know he's won
Yeah.
majors. I know he's kind of the guy parking his van outside of Hooters, but I don't know. Like John Daly in the 80s, 90s was the long drive guy. There was John
He
Daly,
was something,
maybe
man.
like John
Yeah.
Daly, kind of Greg Norman near him, and then everybody
Yeah,
else
but John Daly was yeah.
like
Yeah.
300, averaging over 300 yards easily. I mean,
Right.
without like my hinge of a swing that gets the club like this, like he's just rotating that
Right.
much. That club's like pointing straight at the ground and
Right,
just
right.
an incredible club speed, hitting the daylights out of the ball. His problem was his persimmon woods or these new fangled metal woods couldn't stand the power of his golf swing for that long. So
Right.
he was
They
going
would
to
break
drivers like
at
that.
impact.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, now I wish I knew more about this story. Maybe I know enough people. I can dig into it. Um, he couldn't find a driver that lasted long enough. So Cobra Golf was commissioned to create something for him that he would like and would last long enough. So they made this driver. That white is Kevlar. All right.
I was gonna ask, what did they make it out
It's
of? Right.
Kevlar.
Kevlar.
Everyone's like, oh,
Legit
it's like
Kevlar.
composite, it's like graphite. No, it's like metal. Kevlar is a synthetic fiber, right? It is a
Correct.
fiber. And I mean, this is a densely packed because you also have to get the weight right. And it's not super like
Yes.
you make hockey sticks out of Kevlar. You integrate it into baseball bats. Like you don't
Mhm.
make blocks of Kevlar. They
Mhm.
did. I mean, bulletproof, but it's like used for bulletproof vests. That's what bulletproof
Right.
vests are made out of. They're made out of Kevlar
Right.
because it is fairly
Right.
lightweight and is like indestructible. So
Right.
they made some of these
Right.
drivers. John Daly puts them in play, goes out, wins the 91 PGA championship, and was like, what is this thing? So in the blog, I read a little bit about, and you go read it for more detail, but um, people really wanted to hit him and they saw this wacky driver, just like any new thing, uh, golf gear you see
Right.
now, like, hey, I saw this on TV. What is this? I want it. And people had such a hard time hitting them and seeing if they could get them, and getting them off the ground to get forward. Like they weren't selling them. And I read this one article where guys like, I sold two of them over 2 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So I first learned of it from my vintage Facebook group I always talk about where I find all this old gear, and I was like, "That's it, I'm out to find it." And you see people listing them for like $500, maybe
Yeah.
$150, but it's like there's no market on it. And then every now and then you find one, you jump on it. You remember when I got it? I texted you, I'm like, "I got this
Yeah.
thing for $22 shipped,"
Right.
and I haven't
Right.
hit it
That's
yet for a
awesome.
variety of reasons, but like I almost feel like I'm too scared to, but I gotta do it at some point and see what it's like. It has the original Cobra grip on it that's I don't know if you have any plastic nearby in
Wow.
there, but that plastic probably has more grip than this thing does. And I'm like, do I really want to change it at this point? It's not like it's a game or just for posterity, I'll leave it as is.
Right.
Last bit of
No,
cool
no.
story to do with it. So after he won at Crooked Stick, designed by Pete Dye, he gave the driver
True.
to Pete Dye. Now the story I read went at some point, like it went from Pete Dye to somebody in like the Pete Dye Corporation, one of his guys who was a player, and he played it for a while. So it had John Daly's driver had more wear
Hmm.
and tear on it, and a little more, not a ton. It's a golfer, he took care of it, and it ended up coming up for auction a handful of years ago. And I want to say it started like $4,000 or something, and it was already, I don't have no idea what it went for. It was at Green Jacket Auctions, which I'm pretty sure got shut down and doesn't exist anymore, so you can't look it up. Um, But yeah, so the driver lived and somebody bought it. And even the best was like when it got posted, John Day was like, "Oh yeah, that's my old driver." Awesome. So yeah, it's a cool story. It's a neat piece of gear that I still feel like I did a lot of Googling. There's not a ton out there on it, but there's more to the story. And I'd love to hear the old guys tell the stories about, oh, I had one of those, I hit one. In fact, one of the guys in my vintage group actually has one. I think John Daly used the standard size, not the jumbo like I bought, which is funny. It's jumbo because it's still, like a hybrid size head.
Right.
And
Right.
he had, so this is interesting. At this time in history, they were experimenting with like graphite and titanium shafts. So he had this like super strong titanium shaft in it with his name on it and everything. Prototype this, and a guy in my Facebook group has like a special run they made where it's his driver in the shaft, but it's like etched in 91 PGA championship, John Daly. It's super cool. But
Wow. Yeah.
weird piece of gear. Go check out the blog at drivingrangeheroes.com. Cobra Ultra.
In the notes. Click on the link in the notes and go
You want
watch after the show's
Chris will
over.
tell me if you comment and want to chat about it. If you know more about it,
It's true.
please comment. Tell me. I want to learn everything I can and complete that story. Chris, that's gear talk. All right, Chris. Today is a big, well, actually, it's weekend, not just today. Big couple days for us. I'm gonna start to get mine out of the way because I think yours is probably more fun and interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
all right. Do you want to go first?
No, I don't.
I guess I give
Go
you
ahead.
more credit than you do.
I'm more interested in what your day was
Oh, it's
like
all
today
golf
than
nerd stuff. So today we're recording
yeah,
on a
yeah.
Sunday. Um, I texted our good friend Adam Unfiltered. I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. I'm like, hey, are you interested in going to the driving range at Cog Hill Golf Club, Golf and Country Club, whatever they call it, down in
Mhm.
Lamont, Illinois, aka Adam's hometown. They have a
Yeah.
nice outdoor heated range, and we were looking at the weather. It's supposed to be pouring today, but it was supposed to get up to 44. And I'm like, well, on a heated, covered, it's still outdoor, but right, it's all covered, and you wouldn't get wet. Like, the crowd
Yeah.
shouldn't be too bad. Of course, the crowd was terrible when we got there, but so we ended up going down there. Um, we're running out of. You got to take advantage of any opportunity you can in Chicago to do club testing right now, especially with
For
the
sure.
COVID stuff, like what's open, what's not open, and the crowds. So my plan was to go down there and test out the new Cobra Rad Speed driver. Sneak peek of that. It's something, and I'll have a review up on that soon, as will Adam, because he hit and he had an impression, so he's gonna post. And then Adam has the new Strixon irons in his bag. He's got the new Strixon ZX. I don't know all the numbering and how they're doing it. That's on me. The new ZX hybrid. He has the one of the, I don't know which one, the ZX fairway wood, and he had the ZX 5 driver in his bag. And so I'm like, well, I haven't
Yeah.
seen any of these. And our Cleveland Strixon guy here at DRH is out in Arizona now. So it's not like I'm going to run into him at the driving range and see what he thinks of the new gear. So went, hung out. There were quite a few people. Again, it's COVID safe and friendly. Kind of nice here. They have top tracer. So you're like, between that and my handy dandy flight scope Mevo, had a pretty good idea of what the shots were doing. But felt like a real, all jokes aside from the name of our podcast, but a real Big Ten golf guy moment, and just all the new gear, talking about like, oh,
Right.
the Rad Speed driver I got sent has the hazardous smoke blue RDX in it, and stock option. And so here we're talking about the shaft,
That's nice.
the new driver,
Yeah.
the new Strixon lineup. I'm like, God help anybody like sitting next to us, just basically talking about like our common interest hobby, and it just couldn't sound like more golf douchebag. It is what it is, right?
Mm, that's not what that
Oh, it's
is.
not.
I mean, you know what golf douchebaggery sounds like. It's not gear talk.
There's 2 versions.
It's
I know
not.
what you mean. There's 2 versions.
Yeah.
We were one of them, not the worst one. And I will
Right.
tell you,
Right.
there were a lot of those bros at Cog Hills driving range today. Just saying that. God
How do
damn
they
it.
have that how do they have that set up? Is it every bay is full?
Yeah, and at first I'm like,
Okay.
"Oh, it's a little on top of each other," but it really wasn't. It was
Yeah.
and it
Okay.
wasn't policed either, so they gave me that little bit of, like, hope in society where, there's anti-maskers, there's pro-maskers, and then there's the in between, and everybody seemed to just sort of, like, respect the process, so I wasn't too concerned about it,
That's good.
and even so, you're in and out, but you're not, like, right on top of each other hitting or it seemed good enough. It's me, and it seemed good enough for me. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Could it have
Fair.
quickly gone otherwise? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but we were
Yeah.
good.
I asked because Desplaines, my outdoor covered heated range, they are amazing with that stuff. Like every other bay is closed. Now they have 3 levels, so they can afford to do
Right.
that a little bit more. But plexiglassed both sides, and there's one way in and one way out, so you're not crossing
Yep.
paths with other people. It's like super.
I
It's
feel like COD could
it's
do that. They're one way
great.
in, one way out, and they're not. I also think I don't understand this, and I forgot what Adam told me they sunk a bunch of money into over there because he knows it. He actually like works with Cog
Yeah.
Hill, or at least is knows them well, and
Yeah.
they had so, like, you pull up to the driving range, right, and the mats well, really the whole facility, but, like, they have a left side and a right side, and the right side has no heaters in it, and there were a few people hitting over there, but I'm like, it's not all things considered, that's not that expensive of an investment to build up the second half of
Yeah.
it, so I don't know why they don't, and I told Adam, I'm
Yeah.
like, "With the golf season we had, the amount of activities you're allowed to do, and that only going away with the winter up here, they could print money by heating that second set of
Yeah.
dry range waves.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were there, and I gotta tell you, as much there were a lot of golf pros there. There were some good looking swings from young like, when I say young kids, I mean, like, high school kids. Uh,
Hmm.
but from that, let's call it 15 to 25 age group, I'm like, I'm used to golf bros, but there were a lot of them, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
it's good looking swing. Say what you will, like cool sugar
Yeah.
loaf and swag stuff you got going, but you're hitting the ball. Well, I respect it. Which is
Yeah.
usually not how it goes. Thus the plan words of Drive Range Heroes. It's like, oh, okay, Drive Range guy, but
Right.
they're all hitting the
Right.
ball. It's all what you do in the course, Chris. So anyway, that was fun. Hung out with Adam today for a while. Got to hit some new gear. Felt like real golf guys for a little bit in a normal time. That was nice. Stay tuned for reviews soon and all that. Okay.
I was going to ask the show coming
Yeah.
up. What are you guys discussing on Big Time Golf Guys
Here's what we
podcast?
think we know. Strixon ZX something. Not sure if it's
Okay.
woods. Not sure if it's
Okay.
irons yet. I think we're just gonna play a little game time decision and see what we pick. It's
All
gonna be
right.
Strixon. New Strixon. I know that. Um, New Strixon stuff, by the way. Is that like getting used to stuff and the hybrid like sat a little funny, I'm sorry, the fairway wood sat a little funny to me, but looked good. The driver looks really good. Wasn't a good mix for the shaft in it, which is fine. And I mean, it was all good. The
Hmm.
stuff was all good. I want to be clear, but
Yeah.
oh my god, as a huge fan of Tour Edge, player, more player version of hybrids, this was impressive. And
Really?
specifically, I couldn't recreate the magic as much, but the ZX hybrid, I don't know if there's different ones, but whatever one Adam has a even flow Riptide hybrid shaft in it, and it's a 4 hybrid. And I'll tell you, it was good for me, but I took like 3 swings with it. Watching
Sure.
Adam hit this thing, I'm like, oh my god, it was silky, and to the point where like he's got a fine swing, but
Yeah.
like all of the elements coming together really jumped out throughout his whole bag. Watching him hit that hybrid, I'm like, God,
Hmm.
that thing's awesome. So everybody,
Yeah.
watch out for this thing. So I don't know if it would replace my Tour Edge. I'm not willing to say anything's better than my Tour Edge hybrids, but it looks silky. It was good look.
All right.
It looked good. Watching it go looked good. That might be a hybrid to watch this year. Just saying. I don't know. It's early. It's early, and I'm saying this in my Cobra driver review coming up. Like, look, it's early. we'll see. There's still a lot of clubs.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot coming
They're
still.
coming. But
Yeah.
that Strixon hybrid impressed me today. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
All right. So I don't know if we've really covered your birthday is the day after Christmas. I got you
correct.
this extremely thoughtful gift. Um, that you're lucky I gave to you. Let's be honest, because after I got it, I was like, maybe I should steal it and say, Chris,
Yeah, no,
those don't no, that doesn't count because I was gonna give you those anyway.
it all
No,
counts, William. It's all a
no, it's
gift.
not a gift.
I didn't have these, and I have them now because of you.
It's
It's
not
a
your birthday
gift.
gift. That's just a friend gift. I demand delineation. Um, hey, how about that big word on this show? Delineation.
Yeah,
If I
well
used
done.
it correctly, even better. So it's your birthday on Saturday, and it's
Yes.
funny because I texted you happy birthday on Saturday after it dawned on me way later. And we texted multiple times Saturday before. And I'm like, Chris, I'm not gonna lie to you. You got your gift early, so I already registered that. It's been a whirlwind of 2 days. And I said, hey, and I think on Christmas I texted you, hey, happy birthday, bro. No, you were using it on Christmas. Said, I'm
Yeah.
glad you like it. Happy birthday, bro. Love you. And I'm like, all right, his birthday occurred. So the day after Christmas, because my Christmas Eve was like the big day, I'm going, okay, well,
Right.
that was a day of hijinks. Christmas, like, especially this weird year, we don't even have to get into details of my Christmas, but Christmas was weird for us this year. So, like, it didn't feel like Christmas to me. So that was your birthday. The day after your actual birthday, your birthday's come and gone. I'm guessing for you, though, that's not what happened. You actually your birthday is your birthday. So,
It's true.
tell us about your birthday.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I mean, it was actually pretty great, all things considered, because um, I didn't really have to do anything or go anywhere or see anyone, which which was kind of nice. Got lots of phone calls and texts and all that kind of good stuff. But then my wife set up like a night where we got to watch one of our favorite comics, Mike
Did you notice
Birbiglia.
this time
Was
around, I didn't even comment on it because last time you painted a negative picture, or I'll just say a not glowing picture of the comedy thing you guys were enjoying, and I went along with it, and apparently was the wrong thing to say. So this time I didn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, but this was actually so. Listen, so he did a virtual stand up show, and it was actually way better than the other thing. It was an absolute blast. Mike is hilarious. He does a
You guys are on
great
first name
job.
basis too, so you know it's real.
Well, I mean, yeah. What am I supposed to call him? Birbiglia, Mister Birbiglia. He's a comic. It's Mike
Doctor
Birbiglia.
Berbigula.
It's Mike. Um, but yeah, he's great. And what he's doing right now, it's basically a giant. It's like a 700 person Zoom call, but it's an organized kind of Zoom call. So if you want your mic on, they actually want you to have your mic on
The
so that
laughs. The laugh track's real.
he could yeah, right, so he can hear your laughs, because what he's doing is right, he's trying out new bits for when he can actually finally go out on the road. So he's got all these cork boards with all these index cards on there, and he'll just grab one and be like, "Oh, here's this joke," and he tells a joke, and then he shows us the punchline is kind of like, "Here's the
It's kinda like
card that
Mitch
describes the joke."
Hedbergish, and that there's no flow to the whole thing in storytelling. It's just like, grab joke, tell it, grab joke, tell it.
Right. He's got these cards and he's like, "Oh, okay, here." And then he goes through the joke and then he's like, "Here's the joke." And he like holds it up.
Wait,
And
so
it's a
you're
great
just
time. It's an
slapping
hour
I
or
just saw
whatever.
that. You're slapping these cards around and you didn't actually put any content on them?
No, I didn't. Not this one.
You're the best.
Not this
You're
one.
the best.
Not this one. um, so yeah, we did that and then we went and grabbed one of my favorite restaurants in the
Burger King.
city, uh, Joe's Stoned Crab. And we actually, I don't eat fish, but they have an amazing steak, amazing. They call them Jenny's potatoes. They have some cocktails in a bottle that they are selling. So we went and got ourselves a nice Joe's dinner to bring home. And it was delicious. It was so good.
I don't like
And
seafood. There's no better steak places out there. Tell me you went there for the cocktails and
well,
the
there,
potatoes, and I'll be
no, there are, well, I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, I would put Joe's steak up against RPMs. I would put it up against, who
what
else is
about
out
Billy
here?
B's barbecue?
Not you can't do a fillet like Joe can do. You can't. I'm just saying.
That
I'm
was
just telling you, you
episode
can't.
49 of that range. Show
I'm more than happy. You come on,
Yeah.
Bill. Let's
No,
be
I
real
can't.
here.
No,
Let's
I
be
can't.
real. Let's be
I
real here.
100% can.
You can do. You
100%.
can't. Yeah. Okay. All right. You can. I'm wrong. You're
About
right.
time you admitted it once. This
Yeah.
one. Here,
Right.
you know what?
Anyways, that's my
I
birthday,
won't
ladies and
back down.
gentlemen. I had a second-rate steak that only Bill can do better.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Bill, listen to me.
I really
very
want to get
carefully.
Joe's Stone Crab Shack.
No, it's not Joe's Crab
Joe's-
Shack.
I would really like to post COVID. I would really like to go there with you sometime.
We'll
I'm
100%
gonna
go.
eat like
Without a doubt.
700
We'll go.
crab cakes, lobster tails, you name it. Here's the thing.
But they have so besides this, like their sides are soup. They have like this tomato spinach sort of cheese thing that they make that is unbelievable, man. I don't even really like spinach.
That's something that
It's
kills me.
so
So
good.
we have this place out here called Chin Seafood. It's in Lisle. And
Sure, I know
it's
Chin's,
so
yeah.
good, right? And what kills me,
Mhm.
it's like there's so many good things on the menu for entrees, whether especially if you like seafood, like there's so many good different types of fish flown in from Hawaii, the Philippines, Japan, whatever, daily. And you can go crazy on that, but there's that certain bit of like, I don't go to places like this often. I'm gonna stick with the classic. You give me the scallop,
Right.
you give me lobster
Well,
tail, whatever, right? And
yeah.
but
Yeah.
where they absolutely slay at seafood places, I feel like, are the appetizers, the sides, where you could go in there and spend like $200 on appetizers and sides, never even get these like this. You
Yeah.
can't make it home because you just can't get it, and it does take a little touch. Like you get, I don't know if you know this because you don't like seafood, and I'm a world class grill guy, as we just covered, grill guy, grill
Right.
master.
Right. Right.
Like when you start getting into fish, you would sort of think like fish cooks all the same way. It's like, pss, pss, okay, I got a fish. But you start
Right.
getting these like weird, obscure white fish from all over the world. Like
Sure.
they're touchy. I
Yeah.
do just that. Oh, halibut does this, but this fish you've never heard of from Hawaii does this when you mix it with salt, right? Like that's why you go to the restaurant for. But you're like, no, hang on, I got to eat this tomato spinach cheese dip all night.
It's
You
not
know what I
even
mean?
it's not even a dip. I know, but it's just it's a slice of
It's whatever
tomato
you want it to be.
with cream spinach and cheese on the top, and it's kind of like broiled.
Mhm.
And oh my god, it's just
That's what I
unbelievable. And I barely like any of those things. I like cheese. I don't really like tomatoes. That's a
together.
tomato.
That reminds me here while we're just showing off the cool places we've gone. That reminds me when I went to Girl and the Goat years ago. Like right when it, first year or two it's open, right?
Right.
And it's a big deal because like, oh my
Yeah.
God, Stephanie Izzard opened a new restaurant in Chicago and I got us a table. It's like, hell yeah. I
Yeah.
never liked cauliflower my whole life. I had
Yeah.
that cauliflower there, roasted and done just a certain way. I'm like, either I've been missing out my whole life or there's something game changing here. And to this day, it's like because that was my like it's good introduction. I'll eat cauliflower
Right.
now because in my head still that like baseline of, well, this may not have been as good, but it's fine. And with a little TLC, it could have been this. So I don't mind cauliflower
Right.
now because of that. And then I had like,
Right.
we had like whole squid, not calamari, right? Like
Right.
whole
No, no,
squid.
no.
We had
Right.
stingray, and I'm like, this is awesome. But that cauliflower thing, same thing. Like you don't even like this stuff normally. Like if I grill
No.
master Bill here, I'll even admit if you threw a chunk of stingray at me and said go home and do some of this, hot trash, no question, not a chance. I'm doing
Right.
that well. But you run into these things at these weird places. You're like, I don't even know what witchcraft you worked here, but it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's good. I want to know more. We'll
Yeah.
go. We'll just go. Okay. I like to say it's, when we're both back at work, maybe it's an after work thing on a weekday, but who am I kidding? I'm never going back to the office.
Right. And I live where your office is. So
Right. Right.
just pick a
Yeah,
day. But yeah, no, we'll go for sure. We go a couple times a year. I get the same thing every time. But that's kind of my MO. at these
Yeah, and it's like,
restaurants. Like,
"You
I like
can't
what I
do this,
like.
blah, blah, blah." It's like, you eat 4 things, let's be honest.
Right. Right. But they're so good. Why would I want
I also
anything
wanna
else?
point out, like, "Alright, Chris, you wanna see I'm gonna go out to Ream's Meat Market in Elburn, I'm gonna get the 21-day dry-aged, ribeyes, and I'm gonna show you." Let's be certain here, I will absolutely choke and make you, like
I'm
no, no,
not saying, William, that you
I am
can't
telling
make
you
an
what no, no, no,
amazing
no.
piece of
I am
meat on the
telling you what I
grill.
will do. I'll be like, "No, this guy wants proof. I will show him, and I will absolutely choke. I will make you a 1.5 inch thick piece of rubber," and I'll be like,
Right.
see, told you so, and don't worry, that steak was only
Right.
like an $85 steak I bought because I wanted to show off, and I ruined it. Pro Hand to God,
Right.
that's what will happen.
Right.
Instead of like, "Do you just wanna get some Little Caesars instead?"
Right. Just eat. You order your Little Caesars. I order mine, and we'll eat our separate whole pizzas together.
Yeah, it we're
'Cause
both gonna feel like and we'll be like, because we know how bad we're gonna feel after this, no drinking.
right.
Drinking water
Right.
and eating Little Caesars, and we're on our deathbed at, like, 3 in the morning.
Right.
What a weird ending to this what a weird driving life.
I know.
What a weird
This
ending
is
to this episode of That Range Life, but what
this is it though. This is the last show of
way to
2020,
go out
man.
with a bang, boys.
We did it.
Um,
Did it.
should we reflect on that at all, or should we just call it a show? Because it's a long one.
Will you? I mean, what's there to reflect on? I think we've come a
We
long
have
way.
come
I mean, you remember the first couple? The first couple episodes still pop up when I'm going
Yeah,
through
yeah,
like
yeah.
the YouTube stuff, right? And like we were on Skype. The angles were terrible. The quality was bad.
How about getting off
You
Skype?
know,
What a
we didn't.
move.
Yeah, we didn't know each other very
How
well.
dare you?
Uh, yeah, we've come a long
Natural
way, man.
instinct, you don't need to know someone well, we just have it.
Well, that's true. We knew that, right? We knew that from the get go. Like this is gonna be fine.
Just
This will be
fine.
fine.
Just fine.
And then if it wasn't fine, the 75 podcast shows in a row fixed it.
That not appreciate when you said almost as hard as doing a daily podcast. Like, stop acting like you weren't proud of yourself for it, and you weren't like, "You know what? I'm just proving a point, and I'm here for it." Stop.
No, those all those things are correct. But also um my
That was
text comment is
was that a
also
text
correct.
comment, not social media? Jesus,
That was a text
that makes way
conversation.
more sense. This this whole goddamn last year is just a blur of worlds colliding. It's awesome.
Uh, but yeah, hey, the next episode you see that'll be in 2021. We're gonna do some. We got some new stuff, and we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna show some of it. And you know, again, all those people that are here now that are watching this, you can be able to say that you were here when.
Yes, you were.
You can be. You can be. You'll be that Range Life
You know, we didn't even
hipsters.
have a logo when we
So
started the show, did we?
we did not. We did not.
I'll never forget speaking
And now
what's
look
there
at
to
us with
reflect
our
on.
cards.
It's like show 2, 3, and you can't make it. And I'm like, that's cool. I'll get Victor a Fable of VA shafts. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So me and him record a great, like really a pretty
That's
good
right.
show. And
Yeah.
I go back to like check it out before I send it to you to make sure it's okay. I don't remember how, but it's just screwed up beyond belief. And part of it was we were still using Skype. And I'm like, we can use it. We can
Yep.
use it. And they go, we can't use this. And I go, hey, Victor, it's trash. Here are our options. We just don't have a show. Sorry, I wasted your time. Or like, we record again tomorrow. I was like, yeah, no, I want to record tomorrow. Let's do it. Yeah, hit me up. All right. So I hit him up and
Yeah.
we tried to do it all over again. And it's definitely a case of it was better the first time, but we still cranked it out. Those were the days though. Now these
Whatever.
guys are
But yeah, hey,
yeah,
speaking
yeah.
of which, thank you to Victor Afable. Thank you to the sub 70 guys who came on the
Yep.
show. You know, Mr. Claffey who came on the show multiple
Times.
times.
And out on location.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and traveled for us and everything. So thanks for those guys that came on. Adam Unfiltered.
It only took us 48 shows to get one of our legitimately good friends on, but it's fine. I have a feeling we'll see
Whatever.
him around a lot more in the next year on this show, as well as filling in for absences on this.
That would make sense.
It's like, dude, you know what you're doing. Just fall into place.
Yeah. J-Riv on the show?
It
J-Riv
was
was on
on
the
in the very
show.
beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we told him, if you don't stop using your Apple headphones for your microphone and laying your phone down for this,
Right.
you're never welcome back.
Gotta
And the
get it.
problem is J-Riv
Yeah.
goes, "It's fine with me, good.
All right.
Let me
That's
know
fair.
when you guys need a drone in the air."
Right. I'll be in After Effects if you
Yeah,
need
right.
me.
But yeah, it was a good year. I mean, actually legit. I don't know if it's because of coronavirus, but this has been a lot of fun to do, and I don't want to say it's not burdensome at all, but like it's a good one. It's been something fun, entertaining to do. I've enjoyed. At the least, we get to catch up for a week, and
It's
as
true.
people may or may not know, I'll personally thank you. We tend to chat for. Usually, we keep it like half hour under before the show, and it's not been uncommon to finish a show and then stay on for another 2 hours, catching up, planning, talking new ideas. One
It's true.
percent of which we actually end up doing. Um, I would say in a lot of ways, Kris, myself, Adam Unfiltered are all very similar people to the point where it's like, they say opposites attract. We're like the exact opposite of that, in that we're similar enough we shouldn't really attract, but it works because then I can be like, "Hey, Kris, look, this is," and we did it today. Like, this is where I'm sort of at
You
on
did,
something
yeah.
mentally, borderline emotionally. Can I just bounce this off of you? And then once we get past Kris being like, "You're an idiot. Ugh, I never say anything that's gonna be like agreeable with your stance." Once we got past that, a lot of great insight. I would go so far as to say you and the show, to make it less weird of a thing to say to you face to face over the internet, has been borderline very important for me in surviving this past year. Not just because of our
Oh,
stupid websites and then the internet thing we do, but
no.
as a human and friends. Like, it's been
100%, man. 100%.
fantastic. And that love fest, that goes for all of you who watch the show and interact with us. We really appreciate it. And
We do. We've appreciated every single
yeah,
comment, every single bump, every all of
typical
it.
of the show, I'm sure you have no idea when to take me serious or not if you're watching this, but I do mean it. It does mean a lot to us. We hope, we hope we can carry our end of the deal and make this fun week in and week out. And hopefully 2021 will grow and do more cool things for you guys.
Maybe even like in person, on location shows where other people could come and say hi.
We have to do small dry runs of that first. I feel like anytime we change anything, I need like a first out. Like, we did an in-person show, and it's like I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm like, how does the technology work? I don't even know. My mic's dead. I don't know what happened.
See how this works? Like I have these ideas of grandeur, and Bill's like,
No,
"Whoa,
I wanna
whoa."
do them. That's the
No,
problem.
no, I know, but you're like, we need to
Well,
ease
that's
into
because I've
that whole
learned my
thing.
lesson. Anytime we try to do something different, it's like, wait, I need to like ease into this stuff to workshop it and be like, "Oh, got it." That's me
Right.
though. That's not you. I remember.
I mean, think about before the pandemic hit, we had a plan to do a show on site. Remember, on a location.
Yeah, they were like, "We want you here
You,
regularly,"
I know, and
and
so
I'm like,
there's,
"Yeah, I'm not coming back there till 2022. No big deal." Just saying. Nothing with against
yeah,
them. Just
no,
let me
no.
get that. Let me get that vaccine and then some. You know what I mean? All right, everybody. That's episode
Oh,
49. Hey,
Happy New
happy New
Year,
Year.
William. Happy New Year, viewers.
Yeah, to you as well. Because I didn't feel like I needed to say it because I'll talk to you every day between now and then. But anyway, happy New Year to you on the internet officially. Um,
Right.
hey, we'll talk to all of you guys in 2021. It's been a great time. See you next year.